All right. Hopefully it's recording. Hit yes. Anyways, good to see everybody. As I continue to let people in, I'll go over the rules as usual. That is bottom of the screen. There's the chat function. Use the chat function to communicate with one another. Also to connect, talk about your needs, your wants, and maybe your give back. Some people are doing all three. So throw that up on there. The idea is that we connect, we build community. Um, I had people asking me the other day what our event was all about on Friday, both in the morning and at night. And I want you to consider this in your own life and what you're doing. And that was what we were doing was creating community with intention. Creating community with intention. A lot of times we find ourselves in the same room of other people that we may know, we may want to know. But when you go into that room to have intention of why you're there, what you can bring to the table, more importantly, what value are you bringing to others while you're in that room? And so it was a lot of fun for me to create two events with my team with intention to bring people together. And just as a quick event recap for those of you that were not able to join us, Friday morning we met downtown Kalispell in a beautiful banquet room in the Kalispell Grand Hotel, which is over 120 years old. And for an hour and a half, we had some speakers. We talked about capital raise, we talked about real estate, we talked about marketing, we talked about connecting with others. Rod had a wonderful story about a guy that spent his life mapping all the rivers of Montana. And at the end of the day, we all walked away with something a little extra. And that was all about uh, that community with intention. And then we followed up that evening with a dinner that you probably saw us posting and talking about. And that was our dinner at the Copper Kitchen. Riley's on. They did a fantastic job over there with food and service. We also had 5 speakers that night, which I just thought was amazing, the mix of people that we had there. And it wasn't that I knew exactly who was going to speak when we created this event, but as it came together, I realized that the people that represented the room were up front. So we had a pastor, we always talk about faith first. We had a pastor kick off the night. We had a Montana rancher that's been raising Angus beef for the last 40 years. We had a mad scientist talking about regenerative ways of growing produce. We had a real estate agent that got very passionate about what he does and what he's gone through as a family man. And we had a politician, and then we had an impromptu by the son of the rancher and talked about how difficult life was up there. So it was pretty fascinating to have all these people come together and be a part of a wonderful night. And at the end of the day, I actually have a stack of checks right here that are going to the VFW. So thank you, everybody that made donations that will go to a wonderful cause. And by the way, we did have Cowboy Bill talk about the VFW. If you didn't catch his opening line, I think it was, I grew up eating squirrels, snakes, and rats in Virginia. And then he went on from there. So anyways, I just want to thank everybody for that. Okay. Kyle is on the line, not Kyle Turley. Well, yes, you're here too, Kyle Turley, but there's another Kyle. And so, Kyle, if you don't mind going off mute, and I know you're in the car, so it might be a little bit difficult, but I want you to tell this group what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I just love the public service aspect of what you're doing, Kyle. So go ahead. Why don't you take 5 minutes to talk about what you're doing?
Yeah. So I'm Kyle Voigtlander, candidate for Kalispell City Council Ward 3. I own and operate a landscape company, Highland Site Services, here in Kalispell. We do landscaping, excavation, fire prevention, forestry work, and firefighting. So quite a wide range of things. But I've been linked up with Jim for some time now since his run in the political world. And I kind of went out on a limb to run my campaign. To be honest, I was standing in front of city council advocating for our community. And half the city council was sitting there with their heads laid back in the chair, rolling their eyes almost. And so I went out. I said, I'm getting back into this game. I'm going back into the politics, and I'm going to start, with where I live. And there's everything from how businesses start up in Kalispell to public works. It all needs work, and there's issues that are more relevant to most people than some other issues that council oversees. But I don't think it's efficient. And I look at city council as a business. And if they're not running efficiently, they're not efficiently working for us, which they should be. So been heading that campaign 100% right now, all self-funded. Would love donations, would love to help. But yeah, just been knocking on doors and as much as I can, running my business. I don't get out every night. Some politicians, they might be retired or work part-time. I don't. I work full-time, run my business, work on my house, and try to run a campaign. So quite the process that I got going on. But, we're heading here into the last couple weeks. Ballots go out on Friday. So just hoping for a good outcome.
Kyle, thanks for that. What I love about what Kyle's doing, and Kyle, if you have the capacity, type in the chat your website. That way we can check it out and make a donation if we can do that. What I love about Kyle is that he's getting out of his comfort zone. You already heard he's working class, he's grinding every day to make a living, but yet he's going to give back to the community. So many people will tell you, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. And here Kyle is making time to serve the community. As he mentioned, I served on school board. It's not easy. It's not fun. And I think these days, most of us are doing these types of things because we know it's the right thing to do, to be involved and hopefully create a better city, a better living environment. And Kyle, I'm appreciative that you're doing that. And again, I know it's not easy. I will, if you put your website in there, I will make a donation to you today because I do appreciate what you're doing. It's a tough race, especially when you look at small town Montana and preserving the way of life that not only we love and expect, but also when people like Richard come to town, what they want to see when they get here too. So thank you for that. All right, keep going strong. Keep knocking on doors. All the good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Kyle also spoke at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which was great.
Yeah. I have the shirt on today, so it's his birthday. So
I love it.
But if the link doesn't work for any of you, reach out to me. I've had some issues with it, but definitely get it working for you.
Great. Thank you. And by the way, on the other side of what Kyle is doing here, Kyle, you should connect with Anthony Pirelli. He has a small engine repair business in another state, but and I've helped him on some of his business planning. He's making a small fortune. You might want to consider talking to him and seeing what he's doing. Might be something you'd like to do out here as well. I'm sure you're handy enough to do that. So, okay, thank you. I want to go to Kyle Turley because Kyle Turley shared an awesome can with me yesterday. What I love about Kyle is he doesn't sit still. He's always pushing to the next level, trying to figure out what makes the most sense for him. So Kyle, if you can take off your mute. You sent me a can yesterday. No sense in keeping it a secret. Tell us what you got going on.
Just another project I've been working on for a long time in the beverage world. The cannabis beverage market is taking off. It's at $1 billion currently, and the projections are extreme. So the alcohol industry is taking over in some states, Tennessee being one of them where I'm at currently, and all of the big distribution centers for alcohol are being taken over almost by these THC seltzer drinks and others. So just working on a project on that end. We're working on that to be a more health-driven, non-carbonated or a minimal carbonation at maybe a 1% or 2% as I'm understanding the formulations to be able to have shelf life. You need a little bit of that, but getting away from and steering away from any lasting carbonation and making it a sports drink, from all the way at the high level down even to just CBD for youth athletes. We have a tremendous, scenario here with these head injuries in sports, and there's a neuroprotective patent on cannabinoids that is going to be exposed here once Trump reschedules here to a Schedule 3. So anybody in the beverage industry, highly recommend researching that. And if you have any connections to that, getting involved with something like that. There is no Budweiser yet. At the end of the day, during those times, I've been told there were over 400 different beer companies in St. Louis. And they still have all the underground tunnels and all this. So it's a true opportunity for anyone in brand space to think about another, you, Jim, being from your beverage industry background, or anybody that might want to get involved in that. We've made some also, great connections here with some of the meetings we've had here with Richard O'Connor, connecting me to another group on these calls that has led me to a farm in Oregon that we're working with currently. That's one of the largest GMP certified production facilities in the country, growing hemp over 500 acres and 1,000-acre capacity plus. And so we're working on planting a flag in these with these associations to hopefully vertical the projects and bring them to the real opportunities that still lie within creating companies in cannabis. You can't just be a farmer, you can't just be a brand, you can't just be a shop owner. It's seed to sale, and that's what I've been working on. And thanks to these calls, I'm getting a little closer.
Good. I love it, Kyle. Thank you for grinding away. I saw today, Curtis will appreciate this. First Form is doing a promotion at every 7-Eleven in the country for $1 a can. $1 a can. It's probably their cost, but when you think about a brand that's willing to invest a lot of money to get their product out, $1 a can for the next 2 weeks. It's normally, I think, $3.25 a can. So, Curtis has one right there in his hand. Right on. Well, I know you paid more than $1 for it. But, when you look at these industries, what you're up against and how people are marketing and what they're doing, it's all a learning lesson. So it's important that we talk about that here. Rachel Svoboda is not on our call. I know her better half is here today, but she was talking on Friday. And I'm going to go to Rod in a minute to talk about what he discussed on Friday. But she was talking about marketing and giving people a tool. And basically, it was draw 3 intersecting circles. You can kind of see that there. They all intersect in the middle. And what she talked about is the 3 forms of marketing. And if you're not doing one or all the above, or if you're doing too much of one, you should look at the other. And so one circle was owned marketing. Something that you own for marketing. As an example, that would be your website or your social media. So we have an opportunity to own marketing. The second type of marketing would be earned. I gave a story about how when I was racing off-road, I earned 7 pages in Hot Rod magazine that are worth $20,000 a page, right? So I leveraged that to gain a sponsorship for my race team. So that's what earned marketing would be. Kyle, maybe you launched a product and you get an article in one of these magazines. That would be earned marketing. And then the third one is paid. So maybe you're paying for a billboard, vote for Kyle, Kalispell, right? That's paid marketing. So we want to look at our marketing health and consider all 3 of those aspects. And if you're falling short in one area, then you can put some effort and energy into that so that you've got all 3 covered. And oftentimes your owned can turn into earned, and then you can look at paid, which also turns into the other 2. So that was a good quick tip from Rachel. I'll probably ask her to weigh in on that next time she's on one of our calls. So as I alluded to, Rod talked about, he had a wonderful story on Friday, and I asked him on the chat if he can retell that story, Rod, because I just, it was really compelling. And I took something away from it. So maybe the abbreviated version, Rod, but go ahead and unmute.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Well, it's always a pleasure to be able to talk about somebody who impacted me in my life. And Kurt Thompson was the gentleman. He wrote a book, Floating and Recreating on Montana Rivers. And Kurt Thompson was a retired football coach in Montana. He was a chain smoker. I mean, Camel non-filtered cigarettes, and I mean one after another. This guy was he just always had a cigarette in his hand, the gravelly voice, you know, everything that went with it, smelled like an ashtray. And I never would have met Kurt Thompson, except I was in multi-level marketing, and Kurt Thompson came into my second organization. He was in my 5th level down on my downline, which is important because my payout level was at level 7. But Kurt Thompson floated every single navigable river, stream, and creek in the state of Montana and mapped it and wrote a book on it. So Kurt got out there. He had this passion and desire to float and all that kind of stuff. So regardless of what you thought about smoking and everything else, this guy had connections. Every farm ranch that a river ran through, he'd probably talk to the landowner, right? Well, in my 2.5 years, when I actively worked my network marketing business, in 2.5 years, I personally sponsored 12 people. Kurt Thompson, I trained him to be a representative, and then I trained him to be a trainer. Kurt Thompson signed up over 50 people in about 1.5 years. And Kurt Thompson didn't say, well, I'll call you and we'll get together. He would be on a plane with someone, and before he got off the plane, they were signed up. They were a representative. It wasn't, I'll get back to you on that. He was a right now guy. And I don't know what his magic sauce was except passion. And he was passionate about everything he did. He has passed away. You might have suspected it was lung cancer. And he was passionate about going to the end too. He didn't drag it out and do anything else. He said, I knew this was coming. And, you know, from diagnosis to death was like a week. But Kurt was an incredible human being who launched my business into a profitable place where I literally stopped working. And he wasn't the only one in my organization, but he was one of the first. He jettisoned past me in rank. He signed up and trained more regional directors and national directors than I did. But there are people out there that you will run into. And my point with Kurt Thompson is I never would have met him except he was in my community. He was in the community that I was engaged in and built, and I formed a relationship. And there's a Kurt Thompson out there for each and every one of you in your business. Whatever that is, whatever you're looking for, if you want somebody to help launch you to the next level, somebody who will do not half of what you do, but will do 10 times what you do, they are out there. You just need to be connected and stay connected. And that's what we do here. You know, on Tuesdays, we're building a community to get connected and stay connected. We're on the school platform, so you can build even more of that community and watch that grow. You know, we've got 18 people on this call. There's 52 people on school right now. I'd like to see that like quadruple. But it's about community, and it's about passion, and it's about touching base and making real connections with the people. I trained Kurt. That was my claim to fame. I knew what I expected, what I was doing, and he was able to multiply it. So if you invest in other people, it's going to have a return investment on you. So it's always about somebody else. It's not about you. It's not about your business. It's about what your business can offer other people. It's about what you can offer others, and it will always have a return on your investment. Anyway, that's the encapsulated version, and I'll give it back to you, Jim.
Thanks, Rod. Appreciate it. Hey, I force-fed some needs and wants based on some recent calls. So just want to show you guys how it's done. The rest of you can plug in your websites. And as I've said before, even if you just want to put in, follow me on social media, build up some more followers, open up the door a little bit more, please do that. Okay. We're all here for a reason. It's interesting. I was at church on Sunday, which I'm at every Sunday, and the pastor stopped midstream and he says, I want you to think about this. Why are you here? why are you here every Sunday? What are you hoping to get out of being here today? And so I want to ask the same question here is, why are you here? What are you hoping to get? I know I probably stalled out too because my internet's unstable. Right? Did I stall out there for a minute?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Anyways, let's make sure that you put your reason for being here in that chat when you show up so that we can bring value to you every week. Anybody else that wants to raise a hand that wants to talk about what they're working on, I'd love to hear from you. Let's post them up.
Hey everybody, I'd like to touch in real quick. I'm just looking to talk to somebody regarding franchising my business. I have a mobile mechanic business. If you know anybody who's ever started a franchise, I'd like to connect. I'm willing to offer advice on growing Google Business, Yelp, SEO, anything internet related. Also, I have knowledge in some investing and Bitcoin and stuff like that as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Rod, go ahead.
Thanks, Jim. This is something that I wanted to talk about earlier too. I can help you if you need to do public speaking. I can offer just some real quick tips to get you, focused and off the ground. I offered Heidi some recommendations, and I told her time's going to go fast, and I think she realized how fast it went on Friday. And I want to do a shout out to Rachel Fedor as well. Rachel didn't want to speak, and I kind of threw her under the bus, and because I know people will rise to the occasion. If you don't think about things and you just get it out and do it, just thinking about it will hold you back. So just jump in and do it. And speaking from the heart is always better than having a plan anyway. So, Rachel, this is a shout out to you for stepping up. I know I called you out and it was unexpected, and I haven't had a chance to call you personally and say, I'm sorry. But you rose to the occasion, and it was absolutely awesome. And I look forward to you and everybody else here online who might have trouble doing that, to step up and find opportunities to use your voice, because that is where the passion comes from. And Heidi, again, great job with your delivery. It was fantastic. So if anyone needs any help, you can always reach out.
Awesome. While we're offering help, Richard, you called me earlier. You were offering some help. Why don't you throw that out there real quick? I think it was 3 items that you specialized in. Mute, take your mute off.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Well, it's nice to see everybody again. Yeah, I was talking to Tim this morning. I met a couple people up there. One of them was a kid, 19-year-old kid, who was making burgers. And he mentioned to me that he saw a show about a food truck when he was 12 years old. And he said, that's what I want to be. I want to be a chef, and I want to create my own food. And we had one of his burgers, and it was amazing. And more amazing was the kid. I don't want to call him a kid. What's his name, Jim? Anyway, my background is in private equity. I took my first company public when I was 27. I've worked with some fantastic entrepreneurs, and I used to run an ad in Business Week magazine, and all it said on the ad, it was a big blue piece of paper, and said the first 500,000 is the hardest to get. And everybody in every stage of their business, when they're growing it, or they have an idea on a napkin, or they've got something and they've got a little bit of traction, at some point in time, you're going to have to raise capital. You can go to the bank and you can borrow it. If you got a rich uncle, that's probably best. But a lot of us don't have rich uncles, including myself. And the banks are tough. That's money that's got to be paid back, a lot of collateral and things. But if anybody has something that they're working on that's got a little bit of traction, and they're at a point in the development of their company where they need to raise some capital. I'm not a candidate to fund it myself, but what I can do is I can educate you on the documentations you need to file, whether it should be an LLC or a C corp or a partnership, or the gentleman mentioned a franchise. I can put you in the direction, and help you create the paperwork, help you create the cap structure. of a small company. So you're in a position where you can go to somebody and say, "Hey, I need $50,000, and this is what I'm offering," or "I need $1 million, and this is what I'm offering." So the first half a million is the hardest to get, and I've had a long career of being successful at that. And like I said, you got to know what paperwork to file. You got to know how you're going to structure the deal. So if anybody needs help with that, I'd be willing to donate my time to helping you with that. And I had a great time in Montana, um, and looking forward to seeing all of you on my next trip.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate you. Hey, in the background on the chat, Rachel did put in that graphic from her marketing the other day. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. Anybody else? Take yourself off mute. We got another 2 minutes. Okay. I think we're good then for today. Unfortunately, I saw that Zach just popped on. He's driving up here. He's doing a documentary. So Zach, thanks for jumping on real quick, but we'll wrap it here. Invite some people next week. Let's keep growing the calls. Every Tuesday, 12:30. Matt Vincent, who wrote this book, Not Dead Yet, he'll be on either next week or the following week. So stay tuned. Good to see everybody. We're here if you need us. Jump into school. We're there all the time. And talk soon. Thanks.
Hey, Jim.
Yes.
Have a good.
I was trying to wait for you to finish speaking. Didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, no, I wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up. So the
Go for
regional series, for me ended last weekend. We did get hit in the first race, but kind of turned it into a positive. Luckily, we weren't hurt too bad. I got a bruised shoulder, but I was able to finish the race. But yeah, we're looking forward to next year, trying to get some Hoosier Super Tours, U.S. major races in on the East Coast. I think Sebring is typically towards the end of January. So what everybody thinks for motorsports and sponsorship is how, it starts in about June. No, it starts about now, or we're all talking about. And
Yeah.
Jim totally knows that. So if anybody's interested, reach out. And even if you just have some people that you think may be interested in talking to me, not even just yourself, feel free to reach out. Love to work with you and send you some of the things I've come up with.
Alex, thanks for jumping in. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but he's got a deck on school. Help him out. Here's how sponsorship works. You look at the demographic for the type of racing that he's doing. You see if it's a fit for your brand, and then you can integrate in there, and that'll bring value back to you. And that's what we specialize when I was racing, and that's what Alex does. So if you need to grow your brand a little bit, take a look at what he's doing. He's very consistent. He's been doing this as long as I've known him, last couple of years. So great opportunity there. So, all right. Looks like that's everybody. So thanks again. See y'all next week. Have an awesome week. Bye-bye.